Okay, and hello again. As always, we'll start slowly. I will apologize again for yesterday's outage. There's nothing we can do about this software if it doesn't work. That's completely out of our control. That was really unfortunate and very bad timing, so apologies again. Okay, yep, we'll wait a little while longer. We had probably double that many on the session yesterday. Anyway, there are still a few coming in. Okay. Before we do begin, I will acknowledge the original owners of country throughout Australia and its collection of surrounding islands. I'm coming to you from the lands of the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation. I myself have connection to the Awabakal lands, and today's special mention, like yesterday, is going to Girawa. So for anyone who wasn't with us just yesterday, I mentioned a man named Paul House, who I met over the weekend in Canberra, who's doing some artworks as part of an exhibition at the NGA, the National Gallery of Australia, and who just was super nice. Just a really, really nice guy. I'm posting a link to an article from the NGA website in the chat section of your control panel. So if you wanted to read about Girawa, you could do so there. I will recognise that these lands were never ceded and that sovereignty was never extinguished, and pay respects to any First Nations peoples with us today. Okay. A little bit of housekeeping. This software doesn't let you unmute yourself, so if you do have a question for us, submit it in the questions section of your control panel. We are recording, and I'll try to get that on the website by the end of the week, hopefully this afternoon. Okay, so today, hopefully we'll get through this session on community projects. Sometimes it's just called projects, sometimes community projects, excuse me, sometimes services for the community rather than services to individuals. Okay. Here's a bit of an overview of the session. Again, hopefully we'll get through it today. There's a bunch of stuff in there. I'll start with some of the kind of background information, and then we'll go and have a bit of a look at class. Okay, I'm sure anyone who wants to has probably read that slide by now if they wanted to. So let's kick off today. So this is our quote from the Data Consistency Guide. This is the work that centres do with communities or with groups of people that cannot be defined as one-on-one services to individuals. So things like education sessions that you do, stakeholder engagement. We'll have a quick look at more of that in a minute. This is what I was referring to. So there are 4 official project or community project service types as listed out by the Data Standards Manual. Those are them there, the education ones. These are the legal education ones. Law and legal service reform, if you do that, and stakeholder engagement, all of those activities can be added to class. Now, I'm going to flick over. This is class. I'm going to load up our website and I'll show you where to find information on all of this. So we have the Data Consistency Guide on our website. This is the front page of our website. If you go to resources, here's the Data Consistency Guide. And all of the information for community projects is in here, as well as services to individuals, but we're looking for services to the community, which is here. There in that right-hand column. So I click on that, that'll load this, community projects, and here's the 4 different service types. So they'll all have definitions and information about them under there if you would like to read about them. These are set up by the Data Standards Manual, and people have asked us, can we just make up our own ones? To which the answer is unfortunately not really. Okay. Yes, let's actually now go and have a look at class. Now, the way that this works in class is not super intuitive. I'll show you how it works, how it does work. So back to class. Now to find community projects, you come to the bottom left and click on community. So here's all the things that we have for community projects. So here I've got search projects and search project services. Now I'm going to open a project. And I'll show you what they look like. Here's a project. This is commenced, and there's the types, social justice / campaigns. Let's just open it and have a look at it. I'm just going to flick back to that list actually. The title. This is all just dummy data, so you don't need to worry about what you're actually seeing. None of this is real. So this is a project, and as we can see at the top, we've got a tab here for services. Now, excuse me, like services to individuals, in that section of class, you would set up a client and then you would add services to that client. This is very much the same. You set up a project and then you put services inside that project. So it's a bit like a bucket. Your bucket is the project, and inside the bucket go the services. Now, the way the class works is that none of your data will be counted for your projects. Only the project services are counted. That's where your data really matters. So what a lot of people do is, I'm going to flick back to this project list. You could set up a project that's something like, I'm going to do this. You set them up for each year. So you could set up a project for, say, for community legal education activities for the particular year. And then inside that, every time you do a session, you could add a new service. So then inside you could have all of your services for this particular type of community project that you do. And you can set them all inside a project itself as services. But again, the projects themselves are not actually counted. This project here is not actually counted. It's only the services that are counted. Anyway, so to set up a new project, you'd simply come into search projects and then click new. And as I was saying, you can add, you can give them a title. So you can group them by year, you can group them by however you want, really. You can do this in whichever way makes sense to you. So you could do them by year, but you don't really have to do that if you don't want to. You could say this is CLE activities and have one, and then just set all of your services inside there. Here we go. Project type community education. I'm going to come back to that. So what you could do is give it a title like this, or you could list them by year. Up to you. It's not super. There's no official way to set up your projects. You can set them up however you like, really. You can say it's commenced, deferred, whatever you like, whatever the project status, and now kind of just add whatever data you want, really. It's up to you. Someone asked us just this morning, why do they have funding categories when they're not really required? Don't know, haven't had a chance to look into that yet, but obviously, as we just saw, the funding category is required, so you will need to add one. The project type, you, again, just add one more dice. I said this was CLE, so I'll go community legal education. Just select whichever community or whichever project type makes the most sense to you. And then again, you will need to fill out created by. I'm just filling in the required data, and then you can put in whatever you like. You can add notes. You can add a description of the project and then an evaluation. I suppose you would probably come back to that later. Once you've got your information in, just click save. Okay, I do have a question here. The project type community education is actually not available, and it's entering a project. Should it be added? You should see four types. The project type community education project type. Sorry, as I was saying, okay, I'm not sure of the answer to that question, but I will get back to the person who asked that. I'm just making a note of that. Just bear with me. Yeah, that looks fine. Okay. Okay, I will let you know the answer to that one a little bit later. I don't work a ton on community projects, so I don't know the answers to everything. Once you've set up your project, you can then click over to the services. I've just set this one up, so obviously there are not going to be any. You can click new to create a new service inside your project. Okay, so this is going to be the data that is that's counted. So if I go back to the actual project itself, we can see there that we had a project type, and there was a whole bunch of stuff in there. Project types. So possibly we do add community education to that. Again, I'll come back to you on that. So once I click over to the service, the project service, here we've got the project service type. I'm going to click in there, and that's got, okay, so there's a couple of test things in here. Ignore that one. So you should have a list of 4, or is it maybe it is 6. It shouldn't be any longer than 6. If it is, you might want to let us know. So this is where you select your project service types. As I was saying, there's 4 types of project services, and these are them here. Community education, so we've got the community education activities and the community education resources. I really need to clean this up. I will make a note to do that as well. Excuse me. So what you want to do is select which one of these is the one that you're doing. So I've got the community education activities or resources. So if you're spending time setting up resources for a community education session, you can list that as a project service. And then if you're actually doing a community education session, you could set up another service to list that work that you do. If you don't want to do it that way, I'm not sure that you technically have to, but you can if you like. Again, all of that information is in the data consistency guide. I'm going to mark this one as community education activities. Okay, so we've got a whole bunch of new fields have appeared. Just going to give it a funding category. And again, you set up whatever information you like. I'm going to have to fill in this. Yep, so just add any of these details that you like. I'm sure you know how to fill in fields, activity type. Okay, so in here you can set up what it is. It's an information session. Come through and select one of these if you want to. Community education type, you can add that in there. Number of persons accessing, I would probably recommend that. Today I'm going to put in that number. Number of activities, again, if you need help figuring out what data you should be adding into these, come to us at the help desk and we'll figure it out and let you know. Notes, you can add notes if you like. Once you're done, again, just click save. Okay. So that's kind of how the system works, really. Now, I believe I said yesterday, but forgot to mention this morning that I think I'd scheduled in an hour for this session. It really might not be an hour that we will be here. I may be able to hand you back some of that time. Okay, so that's kind of how the system works. It's kind of, the projects are the main bucket and you put your project services inside that bucket and your projects are there just to group your project services. So that's kind of how the system works. Okay, what else do I have for you today? Finding projects we saw, go to community, go to search projects. Oops. Creating projects we saw, finding and creating project services, we saw that. I will just demonstrate very quickly. This really won't take long. If you want to find just the service, you can just click on search project services. And here they are here. They all start with a Y. I'm not sure why, but they do. And, finding things, I'm sure you all know how to find the things that you are looking for in class. I'm going to do a search for my name on the assigned to column, and there are all of the project services assigned to me. Okay. Actions, yes, basically the same as service for individuals. We'll go and have a quick look at that. So this is a project service. Why is that? What's going on? Oh no, this is a project service. That's search services, search project services. If I click over to the actions tab, I don't have any, I can set one up. Now, Again, I don't work a ton with community projects, so I'm not sure what types of actions you would be setting up here. Maybe they're reminders, maybe they are just notes or communication. Again, they're very similar to actions for services to the community. Now, you can assign this to yourself. Now, part of my demonstrations today aren't going to be very good because I can't actually assign these things to the account that I'm actually logged into. So I can assign this to myself, and then I can go save and close, and I've got an action listed against this project service. And there it is, and you can add whatever detail you like. So I've also got my projects and my project services. Now, if I click into here, it's not going to find any because again, I can't assign any of these things to the account that I'm actually logged into. So go and have a look at that if you like, but I can't really display it for that reason that I just mentioned. Actions, I don't know if I do have another question. What does the manual mean by number of activities delivered in regards to stakeholder engagement, CLE, and law reform? The manual, the data standards manual, I'm guessing, number of activities delivered. Yeah, I don't think I've got an answer for that question either in regards to stakeholder engagements. I'm going to make a note of that one and get back to you as well. Bear with me. This won't take long. Yeah, as I was saying, I don't work a ton with community projects. Bear with me. Apologies for that. Actions, I don't think I've got any more to show you on actions. Again, if you do have questions, feel free to bring them in. Fire them in on the question section of your control panel or to the help desk at any time, really. Actions, copying project services. So again, pretty similar to services for individuals. Yes, I can. Yes, I can add everyone to the answer that I provide for that last question. Yes, I will do that. Let me make a note of that. Okay, thanks for your questions. Copying project services. So I'll head over to this project. So this is a project. There's the title of the project. Here's the general information tab. I can click across to the services tab. Can I refresh that and find one? Yes, I can. Great. Now, just like services to individuals, I can just select that project. I can click copy and I'll say yes because I want to do that. And unfortunately, this doesn't actually highlight these in green. I'm not sure why. It probably should, but it doesn't. Anyway, you can figure them out pretty quick and easy. This is 46, that's 47. So that's the newer one. That's the one that's going to have been the one that we just copied. And just like services to individuals, this will, no, it hasn't. So you will probably need to come over and check all of your fields because it may not be listed as having been created by you. It may be listed as being created by someone else. The assignees, all of that sort of thing may not be, that may have been copied across and may not be what you want, but that's a pretty quick and easy way to set up a project service. If you're doing, like I do, training or education sessions on a regular basis, you can just come in, just go click, copy it, and then just fill in whatever details you like. Okay, right, now, where are we? We've been going about 20 minutes, so that's pretty quick. I can't see this going much more than about 30 minutes. Now, for anyone who only wanted to see the information on how to put data into class for community projects, that's about it for that section of the training. I know that was quick and pretty short. I know people who say that short training sessions are good. I'm only now going to go through how to get data out. So we'll just quickly, most reports. Oh yeah, the fields for community create a report. The two don't match as well around this. Probably, I'm not sure if I'll be able to answer that question right now, but I'm fairly sure I can get you an answer for that question. So for the rest of this session, I'll really only be focusing on the reports, and then I'll go through finding documentation and getting help, but that's it. So if that's not valid for you, then the rest of this training session might not be something you need to watch. Anyway, reports, there's 1 standard, 2 drill down, and 4 DIYs. I'll show you how to find them and how they work. Now, for depending on your class account, you may not have access to this anyway. You click on reports and accountability and then reports to load up all the reports. And then the easy way to find these reports is to click on the display name column, or the search box in the display name column, type in project and hit enter, and here are our 7 reports. So we've got the 1 standard, these are the 2 drill downs, and there are the 4 DIYs, and I'll give you a quick look at basically all of them. The fields for community education activity and facility activity is different. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back to that. I'm just gonna really quickly put some data into this report. I'm making that about 12 months today. I'm leaving the aggregate as by center. I'm not sure I have any other options for that, to be honest. No, I don't. Okay, so this is this report. I'm just going to make it wide, and this is the data that it gives you. So it breaks down your project services by their problem types. So this is the number of project services for housing under civil law. Again, this is all dummy data, so none of it really means much, but this is the data that this particular report gives you. Okay. I'm not sure there's much more I can tell you about this report. That's the data that it gives out. I might move on. So there's the N03.2 report. That should probably say NLAP rather than NPA. Anyway, so this is a drill down report. Again, I'll load data into it very quickly. How do I do that? Do that, this, that will do. Okay. Okay, so here it is. And again, this is pretty similar. So this is projects by law type. So here we've got the law type, civil law, housing. That's kind of the same data we just saw, but we have a bit more functionality with this particular report. So if I open the field list by clicking on customize, there's the field list. It's empty, but what I could do is say I don't need the problem types or I don't need the law type. I'm just kind of making this up. I'm just going to take problem type kind of randomly and drag it over to the field list and drop it on top. That'll remove it from the report and give us our data grouped that way. So you can move a little bit of data in and out. There's a little bit more functionality in that report than the S04.3 report, which is a great name, isn't it? Anyway, but not a ton more data in that one, or not a ton more functionality in that one than the first one we saw. Again, I'm just loading data into this other report, this one being the N11 report. So this is project services by problem types by law type. Did I load data into that? I thought I did. It's not giving me any data. Again, not a great demonstration, but what I can do is show you again the field list. Here's the field list. So we can actually do a little bit more with this report. We've got a bit more functionality. We can remove the service type if we like. I might try and find some data. This is a bit annoying. 2 years worth. There we go. That'll do. All right, that's a bit better. So this is this report will be filtering by the service types because that field has it automatically gets placed in the filter fields here section of this report. So if I click on that funnel icon, that would be why. Maybe I'll set this up another day. You can filter this by which service types or project service types that you want to see, so you can get them just for particular ones and not for other ones if you want. Now, we've got a grand total of 21. I'm going to take this, drag it out of there. I'm going to drop it there. Right. So now we can actually break it down the data. So we've still got 21 as a grand total, but we're breaking it down now by the particular project service types. So you can do that if you want to. And you can add more data in as well. So with this one, I don't know why you would have the state reporting body. Maybe I don't care about that because I report to the same state reporting body with every report I do. Maybe I don't need the center name because I only work at the one center and I'm only getting data from one center, so I could remove that. Again, this is pretty similar to the other report we had, slightly different, but pretty similar. But now I could add the center name, didn't need that, the outreach, the problem types. I could add if I wanted to, and I could break them down. So how many problem types, if that will drag and drop in there. There it goes. Okay. Now I can break this down by which problem types were done for each service type. Okay, that's that report. A little bit more functionality for you in that one, and we've got the 4 DIYs. The DIY, so this is the project. All right, so this will give you all of the fields on the actions screen of projects and all of the fields on the service project service screen. They'll all be in there. I'm going to load up this one. The projects and documents. Now, I don't know how widely used these, that's not it. These reports, I don't know how widely used these documents reports are, but I just wanted to load one up just to show you. This is it here. So now to actually get data into this, you have to open the field list by clicking customize. There is another way to do it, but that's the way I like it. And that seems to be the way I'm demonstrating today. Maybe I'll do it the other way in a minute. What was I going to do? Documents. Okay, so I'll go maybe something like, I'm going to go control find and I want the project ID. I can have that. And then what I want to do is list the document title. Let's do that. And then I'm going to close up these things because they're in the way and really quickly throw some data in and hope that this works. Okay, so this is something that you could do. You could add, you could set up a list of projects. There's the project ID. You could probably throw the title in, the project title in if you wanted to, and then it will give you a list of the documents listed against that project or that project service. You could do that if you wanted to. Again, not sure how useful that is to you. I might demonstrate one more very quickly before we wrap up. The DOI project and project service. So that might be the report you want. That'll give you all the fields on the project screen and all the fields on the project service screen. So with this one, we can get lists of, I was going to do that the other way. You can click here, I'll go hide field list. If you right click anywhere there, it'll give you show field list, which then brings up the field list. That's the other way to open it. Okay. So with this report, you could do something like, again, I'm going to do this project ID. Again, not really sure what you would be looking for here, but this is the report that we've got, project service ID. So you could get a list of all your projects and all the project services listed against that report. How do we make that work? We give it a date range and some funding categories and click load report. Okay, so that would be that report. Again, I'm not really sure what would be. You could do them by the month. Which months were they? I think it's got week as well. What time frames were they entered in? Things like that. Keywords you could search for. So you could then filter that, and then project service type. You could add that. Get in there. There we go. Yeah, so those are the reports for community projects. Again, that's a pretty quick demonstration, I know. I've got a couple of questions here. Sorry to take you back. Guidance, suggested project headers for different types. Okay. Do we have any other learnings from other centres? Not really. Any guidance on like the project titles? I'm thinking is what they're asking. That's a project service. Where are the projects? I can close that. Sorry, bear with me while I am trying to find something. I'm thinking that might be best having to be covered at end of session. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think we might do that one over email. It's kind of, you can kind of do it however you like, really. Set up a title for your project. Is there a best way to do it? I reckon we can figure out a best way for you to do it that will work the best for you, but I think that's maybe a little bit of a discussion around that one. So maybe an email on that one. Okay, I'm making a note of that one as well. And then I am pretty much wrapping up. Okay, and that is, oh no, sorry, wrong sentence. That one, okay, great. Now, yeah, I think that's about it. This is a pretty quick and easy training session, this one. I do have other questions. Can you save all these fields in the report so you don't have to keep selecting them over and over again? I didn't really demonstrate that, did I? I've got so many things open. I'd kind of close that. Here's this report. Yes, I think you can. Yes. So if you set up a report and you want to see it again and don't want to have to set it up again or set it up multiple times, then yes, you can click Save As. You can rename it. It sets it up with this name. I don't really like it. I personally, if it was me, I'd be renaming that to something, if I can spell. I don't know what something better is, but something better than what it gives you, which is DIY project service copy. That doesn't say much to me. You can give it a description if you like, but don't have to. Now, if you save changes, I think that will update your date ranges and stuff. So the next time you open it, the date range will just automatically be updated and it will just give you your new data. So I'm going to click Save and Close. And that's going to save that report for me. So next time I go to my list of reports, it will be in there. Yep. And you don't need to set it up again. You just go to your list of reports, click on the report that you've just saved with whatever title you give it, and it will just load like this when you set it up. So yes, you can do that. That one is more of a comment. Okay, yes, okay, great. All right, so finding documentation and getting help is basically where I was at. Was that the slide? I don't really need to click back to the slides, too late. I'm gonna click this button to take me across to our website, even though we already had it open. Now there is documentation. I believe there's documentation on or inside the class documentation for community projects. I should have looked this up because I can't quite remember where it is now. That was something I probably should have planned a bit better. Services for the community. So if you come into the class documentation, click on user manual, click on services for the community. This is where all of the documentation is. And I was going to set up some graphics like this, but I'm sure you can visualize what a bucket is. So there's the bucket, which is the project, and the services go inside the bucket. I should just use that graphic, shouldn't I? Anyway, there we go. So this is where you find the documentation for project services. It's all listed in there. We've got creating projects, project services, the project service types again, search projects, yep, so that's all listed in there. If it's not in there and you want help from the help desk, you can. We've got help and support. Probably didn't need to open that in a new tab, but too late now. Okay, so contacting the help desk, there's the email address, which I'm sure everyone probably knows, but just in case anyone doesn't, it's icthelp@clcs.org.au. Email us there, you'll get a response from the help desk. The class portal, this is our online portal that you can use as well, and the phone number. We don't have as many staff as we would like at the moment, so you might not get an answer on the phone line. You might, but you might not sure. You follow with that, please. Let me know. I think I've been told not to click on that box on save. Oh, okay. I'm going to make that one, I'm going to come back to that one on email as well, that question about the save buttons and whatnot, just to get a bit of a clarification. I think that's a pretty quick and easy question to answer for you though. Now, the phone number, you might get a response from us, possibly not. I mean, you will get a response at some time. You may not get an answer when you call. It might go through to the voicemail. If so, do leave a voicemail. We do check them all and we do respond to all of them. The online portal is here. You can set up questions and then you can, your requests, and then you can view all of your requests right there. Okay, great. All right, so that's getting help from the help desk. We've seen where to get the documentation from. That's about 35 minutes-ish. So maybe we say, thanks for being part of this training session. Hope that helped. There's not a ton of detail on community projects. It's one of the more simpler bits of functionality that we have within class. So the training session is kind of brief. Hope it did help though. Thanks for being a part of another training session, and apologies again for yesterday. And that's going to be thanks and bye from CLCs Australia today.